Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ubna Master, and I am expecting right now that not many of you expected me to put out a new video this soon. To make a long story short, after I finished my Pinocchio P video, I realized that the 5th year anniversary of Samfree's death was coming up on the 24th. So I wanted to try to put together something really quick in order to kind of just remember what Samfree did. And I apologize if this video comes off a lot rougher than my other stuff. I'm pretty much doing this under a very tight time frame, so I'm just going to try to do this with no script and kind of just like speak from the heart, because I think it will come off a lot more genuine that way. So with that out of the way, let's get started. Sana Takayuki, or better known for his alias of Samfree, was born on September 9th, 1984. And he was born in Niigata City in Niigata Prefecture, and sometimes called Minatomachi, meaning port city, because of its long history of being a center of trade and cultural exchange internationally. Samfree grew into popularity during the late 2000s, mostly due to his European-inspired upbeat dance hits like Megu Megu Fire Endless Night, Lily Burning Night, and most famously Luka Luka Night Fever. And it was always incredible to see Samfree put out new songs because he always had a way of just knowing what was going to be popular. I mean, it was always a pleasure to see his unique production style because no one else really replicated it, but he always just seemed to know what the next big vocal bank was going to be, whether it was IA, Luca, Gumi. It was just genuinely incredible to watch. And his reach was so much more than just Vocaloid. I mean, in 2012, he made a track for Lawson, the convenience store company. And if you guys know anything about convenience stores in Japan, Lawson's one of the big three over there. And convenience stores are a very big part of Japanese culture. So the fact that he was able to do this was just very significant and kind of incredible. But his reach was also in anime too. For example, he made the ending theme for Katana Gatari, an adaptation of the light novel series by, and I'm totally gonna butcher this name here, Niseo Isen, best known for his work with Monogatari. And that's not even mentioning his influence on his peers. Zips, or better known by his name Pusu now from the group 2U, said that the European-inspired beats that Samfree made were the first things that impressed him about Vocaloid when he first got into it. And if you didn't know any of this, or even knew the fact that Samfree was the one who made Luka Luka Night Fever, I don't really blame you, because I didn't know he existed until he died 5 years ago. Now, for those of you who were around in Vocaloid during 2015, you probably have a good idea of just how depressing of a year that was for Vocaloid. I mean, putting aside the fact that only one song hit 1 million views during that year, and everyone panicking that Vocaloid was at its end, in July, Poa Poa P suddenly passed away. And admittedly, I didn't really know any of this at the time because I was in college and I was kind of just busy and not really focusing on Vocaloid at the time. But in September, Samfree passed away and it was impossible to escape. Even I heard about it. Someone who wasn't really that focused on Vocaloid at the time, even I heard this news. That was just how big his death was on Vocaloid. And, you know, part of me always feels my heart drop every time I hear one of these producers passes these days. And it's not just because I'm a fan or that I won't be able to hear any more tracks by these producers. That's certainly a large part. But because these people aren't much older than you or me, assuming that you're the same age that I am. I mean, Wawaka was only 31. Samfree was also only 31. And Poa Poa P was only 20. And it's honestly scary just thinking about that, how young these guys were and how they just suddenly left. And how they're just suddenly gone and not here anymore. Recently, someone close to me lost their grandfather. So I ended up going to the store, buying a card, and I started sitting down and I started writing to them. And as I was doing this, it opened up a whole can of worms for me about my personal experience dealing with death. When you lose someone that's close to you, someone that you personally really loved, and I pray that some of you guys out there haven't been through this yet, but you're really never the same person again. I mean, you'll get through it, you'll move on with life, but every family gathering that you go to, whether it's Christmas, Thanksgiving, you name it, there's always an empty space that can never be filled again. And there's always this sense of melancholy that I always get when I go to these events. And it's really hard to it's really hard to put up with. Sorry, give me a second. Jeez. Okay, sorry, I'm good. And guys, I am just awful at grieving. I mean, I just remember when my grandmother passed away a few years back, I was almost mad at myself because I'm not the type of person, you would think, at least from watching my channel and stuff like that, that I would be the type of person who would be very emotional and like get really involved when someone passes away. I mean, my whole career on YouTube, it's making videos for people, just talking passionately about these musicians. But I just remember that, like, my mom or dad came into my room and they were just like, "Hey, she passed away," because my grandmother had lung cancer at the time. And my response was like, "Okay, thanks, Mom." And I just felt so much disappointment in myself. I mean, every funeral that I went to, every event, social gathering, I didn't cry. Nothing. It just made me so mad. I just didn't understand what was wrong with me. And I get it that, like, we all process grief differently, but even when it comes to other people, I just don't know how to comfort them about it. I mean, you can try your best. I mean, and no one's going to ever blame you for not knowing what to do, but you can't help but always feel disappointed that you can't do more for that person, or you can't be there for them more. And it just really hurts you, and it's hard to get over. And you know, despite all that, despite all this that happens, I really wouldn't want it any other way. I mean, because what's the alternative, you know? We just forget about them and move on? I mean, what I think makes grieving so important and why it's such a necessary part of growing up is that it helps us remember who these people were. Proof that they held like a significant impact in our lives. And you know, when I think about people like Samfree, for example, I don't think he wanted us to like look back on his life and get depressed and sad about it. I mean, in my eyes, this was a man who lived his life to his fullest. I mean, the guy literally he followed his dream. You know, he started as no one, and by the time he died, he was doing all this amazing stuff. I mean, he was making ending themes for animes, he was all over the place, and it's just incredible seeing this man have a dream, follow it, and achieve it, doing something that all of us dream about doing in life. And the thing I really loved about Samfree is that he never boasted about it. You know, like, how many of us knew this about him until we have to try to look it up? He never tried to like gloat about how great he was. Instead, he just stuck to the shadows. I mean, it makes me feel like a jerk because I always had the mindset that he kind of just fell off. I mean, he put out Luka Luka Night Fever, and did I ever hear from him again? Again, of course not. I just have such an incredible amount of respect for what this man did and just where he went in life. And I think we could all learn something from that. That we should live every day like it's our last. That we should aim for goals and always have them and always try to achieve them and then never back down. Because I think, honestly, that's what Samfree would have wanted for us. Thanks for watching.